Hello everyone, Marco Montemagno here, the Tech Alchemist, and today with me, David Feinleib, co-founder and CEO of Speechpad. Hi Dave, how are you going?
Hey Marco, how are you? Great to be here.
As I told you, I have the most horrible surname to pronounce. Montemagno is something impossible to pronounce. So I've been asking Dave before to begin, how do I pronounce Feinleib? Because it sounds like a European surname, or you from US. Well, what's your?
Yeah. It is from Europe. My great grandparents moved here, and we've been here ever since. But that is where it's from.
All right. So, Dave, today with you, I would like to talk about several topics, and I would love to start from this transcription word, where Speechpad is doing its business now. And for community following the Tech Alchemist, they know that every time I upload an episode, there is a full transcription, and that transcription. I'm using it both in the post and also inside YouTube to get the subtitling. So it's very useful, and there are several reasons I want to talk today with you, Dave, about why transcription is useful. And I'm doing that transcription with Speechpad, so I'm in interest conflict. Yeah, I love to talk about product and services that I'm using. So I've been doing an interview with user testing, and so all the services that works, I think is very good to share that knowledge, because other business can have the same need. So let's start talking about transcription market first. What are we talking about, and why did you start with Speechpad? How is the transcription industry in this moment, the state of the art?
Yeah. So we started Speechpad because we were experiencing bad transcriptions ourselves, and we wanted to fix that problem. Actually, we were getting these voicemails transcribed, and you would think even that you could get really high quality machine-based transcriptions for that, but it turns out that it's still quite hard to get a super high quality transcription, especially when there's background noise, accents, multiple people speaking, things like that. So that's why we started it, and we looked at the market, and it turns out that the market is $20-30 billion plus market opportunity. And it's an industry that's been around for a long time, and it's been quite hard to get transcriptions done easily and quickly over the internet. So that was kind of our premise. Really big market. It was a problem that was very personal to us, and we thought that there was an opportunity to disrupt it with a great internet-based offering. Well, we started prototyping in 2009. And we spent quite a while prototyping the software, and then we really started scaling it up about 2 years ago is when we really put some muscle into it.
Right. I remember, I don't know, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, actually I remember when YouTube launched, and the funny thing is that I remember the first videos that I've been doing, and I needed transcription. What I was doing was or finding a freelance, and then he was transcribing everything, and then I found someone editing the video to put all the subtitling, and it was, I don't know, 1 month to do the job. It was really long and painful. So when this kind of services like Speechpad started to come out, I think you guys solved a huge problem, and the feeling of the getting a transcription is not so horrible anymore, but it's a smooth process where you just upload a video and so on. Can you explain us, for people who doesn't know Speechpad, how does it work from the beginning to the end?
Yeah, absolutely. So we use a mix of humans and some computer-based technology to deliver the high-quality transcriptions that we do. Essentially, you can record an audio or video on your iPhone, your Android device. You can record it, on your PC. You can record it on the phone. However you're recording it. Some people also do professional video production and record things that way. So you've got your audio or video. You come to our website at speechpad.com. We make it really easy to upload audios and videos in just a wide variety of formats. You upload your files. We take those files and send them out to thousands of transcribers. We literally have an internal system where we have thousands of people working on transcriptions. They do the work, and then it comes back to us. We proofread it, potentially do a little bit of editing, and then that transcript appears in your account on the website. You get an email notifying you that it's there. Now, we also, of course, support FTP upload and a web services upload for customers that are really high volume.
Describe like that sounds very easy, you know, from my point of view, because I just typically I just upload a video on YouTube, go on Speechpad, copy and paste the URL, then I say the yes, order, and then I download my transcription one day or 1 week. It depends. You can choose the timing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And customers can choose 24 hours, 48 hour. They can choose 1 week turnaround. Obviously, different prices for those different turnaround times. But I think one of the big things we focused on was how can we make it really, really easy, where it truly is what you're saying. You upload your audio or video, and as far as the customer is concerned, that's all you have to do, and then you get a really great transcript back in the time frame that you requested. Now, behind the scenes, we're doing a lot of work, obviously. You know, we're spell checking, where we have rules for looking at the files. We have audio and video conversion, so that all of our transcribers can play the audio or video, different speeds, things like that, depending on what you uploaded. But again, that's all behind the scenes. We try and make it really just easy for customers. Audio and video in, great text out. You can upload audio and video in many different formats. So it could be MP3s, WAV files, WMA, it can be different video codecs. Because one of the problems that we saw for the customers was just the variety of audio and video formats that they were working with, and that are in this space. You've really got to pick a very specific format to work with. Whereas with our site, we really focused on making audio and video acquisition. That's the process of getting audio and video into the system really easy. So the customer can just take whatever they have, get that into the system, and then we take it from there.
And how could you recruit so many people willing to transcribe? Because if you asked me to transcribe something, I would kill myself. I mean, it's one of the most boring things that you can imagine in your life. From my point of view, maybe it's super funny, but from my point of view, it's horrible. So how could you get so many people transcribing?
Well, it turns out that, first of all, there are many people who already know how to do transcription in the world. So a lot of them are professional transcribers, or they're paralegals, or folks who have a lot of experience listening to audio and typing really quickly and with high accuracy. So, at this point, we have such a brand and awareness in the market that a lot of people come to us and want to do transcription work for us. And then, of course, we test them and evaluate their skill set and make sure that they can do the work. But when we were starting out, what we did is we started on a platform called Amazon Mechanical Turk. And Mechanical Turk is this marketplace from Amazon that is intended for doing these small units of work. And we started putting transcription work out there, and that helped us get our initial base of transcribers. Now, of course, we have many people that come to us directly and want to do transcription work, but that's how we get started.
You kick it off. And another curiosity. Sorry, Dave. I just I'm very curious about a service that is very smooth from the customer point of view, but I imagine it's very complicated behind the scenes. So I would like to understand a little bit better how it works. What's the percentage of the service is human power, and what's the percentage is automatic algorithm and so on?
Yeah, all of the transcription itself is done by humans. So you're always getting a human being who is doing the transcription. Now, we have some other capabilities like time stamping, where we insert time codes into the transcripts. We have capabilities for taking the text and outputting it in certain formats. So these kinds of things are done by the machine, if you will. But the actual transcription is done by a human, because humans are great at listening and recognizing audio and turning that into something written. People are really, really good at that. And so we make it easy for them to do that kind of work. And then we take care of all the other stuff, the conversion of the audio and video into the right format, the checking the rules, so a bunch of the other things that are often time consuming, we do that with computers. But the high quality transcription, that's always done by a person.
And the person doing the transcription obviously get a cut or get a compensation of in a percentage way, I imagine.
Yeah, and so the way we do that is the transcribers are compensated for their work. We have an equation. We call it transcription plus review equals the final price that we're paying. So the higher quality the transcription is, the lower or the less we spend on review. If there are some errors in the transcription, we're spending more on the review. So those two things tend to balance each other out, so that we can ensure we're delivering a really high quality work product to the customer. And that's kind of how the system works. So, if you're a transcriber who's doing a lot of work, at one time you might be doing a bunch of transcriptions, at another time you're doing a bunch of reviews, but you're reviewing someone else's work. So the system has this really nice equilibrium and this nice market effect, this network effect, where the more transcribers we get, the more customers we get, and the more customers we get, we build up the transcriber base. So we're always building up more and more customers and more transcribers, and that kind of gives us this equilibrium, growth in the market, as we call it.
Another thing that I was curious about, Dave, is the following. Sometimes I just shoot a video and I need a very fast transcription. So I go on Speechpad and say, I need it 24 hours, and I'm ready to pay higher price, but I need it fast. Right. And I get it in 24 hours. And I always think, how the hell could they transcribe 40 minutes, maybe 1 hour video like this so fast and so in a way, such a accurate way? How can you handle this? I mean, with different clients, different languages, different customers.
Yeah. So just the way you think about the Amazon cloud, let's say, Amazon Web Services, letting companies scale their compute requirements on demand, we provide a similar capability for scaling the human workforce on demand. So we are managing the workforce, so we can sort of see, okay, here's how much work there is. We know there's more and more. We know there's a spike, and so we alert the transcribers that there is more work. They come in, take those jobs, and get it done. Now, in the case of long form video, like what you were talking about, we do sometimes break that into a couple of pieces. So say you have a 60-minute video, we might have two people work on that file at the same time. So that way, in the, say, a 12-hour period, we're having two people work in parallel. And then in theory, someday, we could have 60 people work in parallel on 1-minute pieces of audio and get a 60-minute transcription done in the time it takes one person, to do 1 minute of audio. So we could theoretically be doing an hour of audio or video in an hour.
What are the main reasons, in your opinion, Dave, for companies and for people doing business online to add transcriptions? Because a lot of colleagues or a lot of companies I'm talking with, they're really underestimating, in my opinion, the power of transcription. In my opinion, it's clear because I see for SEO reasons, for several reasons. But what are your reasons that the most important reasons why transcription should be added in any kind of project?
Yeah, so actually our biggest and fastest growing going vertical is something called video SEO. And the advantage of doing that is that the text from that video is then indexed by Google and Bing and other search engines. And so that increases their rankings and drives more traffic to their website. So, the great thing about video, like the video we're doing right now, is it's very interactive, it's very dynamic, and people love to do it. People love video. The challenge for the search engines is making this kind of content available in a meaningful way. The search engines can't find this video as easily. So when we provide a customer with a transcription and they put that on their site, it's really easy for the search engines to index it.
And how do you relate with, for instance, YouTube offering now the automatic transcription? Obviously, all automatic, I guess. It's not human, also because most of the time it's totally wrong, by the way. But how do you relate with it?
And yeah, we love it when people try other solutions like that, because customers come back to us and say, we tried the automated stuff, or we tried another solution, and we need the quality that Speechpad delivers. And so the real difference in what we provide is that we're always providing very high quality transcriptions. So what you hear and what people are saying, that's actually what you get. You're not getting a bunch of other words that people didn't say. So you're getting a very high quality work product.
Tell me again, Dave, how can you do the quality control? How can you be so so focused on quality control? What do you do to grant it?
So just the way, say, eBay has rankings when you sell an item and you get feedback on that. Think of our transcription rating system the same way. So every time a transcriber does a transcription, we review that transcription and they get a score. We make it really easy for the transcribers to see any mistakes they made. So I think the first thing is that helps them improve over time. Secondly, we pay people based on the quality of their work. So the fewer mistakes they make, the more they get paid. And then third, this review process results in a score. And so over time, transcribers, might be doing hundreds or thousands of transcriptions, and they're building up this score just like you do on eBay or other marketplaces.
By the way, while you were speaking, I was thinking that an additional advantage and benefit that I see in having a very good transcription is that when I upload the good transcription on YouTube, for instance, I get a better translation, because then you can use the Google translation tool. If the transcription is horrible, then you have an horrible translation. Right. So this is also another interesting point. Dave, what are your top advices to company willing to have a transcription done, if any? I mean, what are your tips to help companies having good transcriptions out of their work?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things people can do is set up a regular schedule to do videos, and it doesn't have to be hours and hours of video. It could literally be, we work with a company called SEO Moz, which provides software for SEO. They do something called a Whiteboard Friday. It's a relatively short piece of audio. They do it every Friday, and they share tips and tricks with with their customers. And that's a really compelling way for a company to create some content. It's easy to create, it's quick to create, and then the transcription gets done quickly. You put that up on the web, and all of a sudden you're getting a lot more pages indexed in in Google or Bing. So I think that's one really great thing. The other thing is customers may already have video assets that they can work with. So a lot of people have recorded video about their product launch, or an interview with their head of engineering or their CTO, or a video with a customer that they did in the past. That's all great content. You don't necessarily have to create new content. You can get that transcribed, and all of a sudden you're getting double value from that content you already built in the past. So there's a lot of content customers already have in the form of audio and video that you can get transcribed and start getting ranked for in the search engines.
This is cool because you can use also all your archive. So I never thought about that. So it is very smart. By the way, I had Ren Fishkin guest at Tech Alchemist and really appreciate his job. All right, and about format, no problem because you say that you transcribe any kind of format, so it's no problem to worry about a particular format. Which language Speechpad can transcribe? Only English?
We're heavily focused on English. We're starting to do some Spanish now. We have a lot of demand from customers to do Spanish. We certainly get a lot of inquiries for French, German, Japanese, Korean, lots of other languages. So we're looking at adding those next year.
All right. I'm waiting for your Chinese version. That would be a big fun.
We have a lot of customers who request that, and what we tend to do is run, we do run some of that through the system, but to do it in really high volume, we'll need to scale up the workforce for those other languages.
Right. Also because I always thought, a few years ago I had the video translated, I think, in 6-7 languages, but I couldn't understand, Mandarin or, so I had no idea if it was good or bad. So this is another main.
Yeah, a lot of people want to do the other languages for translation purposes, or they have video content and they want to do subtitling. That's a big category for us, or closed captioning added to the video. So that's something we'll spend more and more time on next year.
Right. One thing that I didn't mention about Speechpad, which I think is very useful, is that when I download the transcription, I get several formats. So I can have in TXT, I can have the HTML, RTF, so several formats, and it's useful if I have to use it on different media for subtitling or in a doc word or something like that. Right. Dave, few minutes more, but I want to talk about big data with you too. You recently wrote a good post that I suggest to the Tech Alchemist community on Forbes. If I'm not wrong, you are a contributor on with a blog on Forbes where you talk about several stuff. Not only Speechpad, you have a long career as a successful entrepreneur and writer. So guys, just go there and watch all the Dave job, because otherwise we stay here talking 4 hours. But how about big data? I mean, what's happening right now?
Yeah, so if you think about let's take it in the context of Speechpad, you think about all the audio and video that we work with every day, thousands and thousands of files upload. You can imagine looking at the transcripts for keywords. You could do other analytics on all of this audio and video, and that could give you some insights. Let's take an example. Let's say an insurance company might have tens of thousands of transcripts of recorded statements that they're taking from their clients over the course of a year. Now, imagine that they then analyze all of those tens of thousands of transcripts, looking for trends in the words and finding things like left turn is always associated with a certain issue that they know of in their system, a certain accident type, or a certain kind of insurance claim or what have you. I'm just giving that as an example. So, that kind of analytics based on these huge data sets is a good example of what's going on in big data. And that's kind of shows the power of taking lots of data that might not have been in the right format to work with in the past. So audio in its native format is very hard to work with. But once you convert it into text, you can run all of these incredible analytics on it to get these business insights that could, reduce your business costs or drive more sales or what have you. So that's kind of the power of big data. And for my column, I tend to talk to lots of different startups and different companies in the space, and then I write about things that I see in the space and emerging trends.
By the way, Dave, I always ask to Tech Alchemist guests to suggest their favorite 2/3 website or apps that they can't live without for business, of course. So for productivity or for something that you think, gosh, I can't live without that, and for business, for online business, digital business, absolutely I recommend to use that kind of app. So do you have your favorite 2/3?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take a little different angle on that, and I'm going to tell you about my experience using a Mac. When I was 16, I went to work at a company called Microsoft, and I really learned a ton
I
of
heard
stuff.
about that. Microsoft, I think. Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah. And listen, the company is huge, and they have all kinds of incredible productivity software, Windows 8 coming out, things like that. So I love the recent work that they're doing. But I have to say, a little while ago, I was like, I'm going to try being a Mac user. And the most amazing thing to me is my presentations look really great. People look at my slide decks and they go, wow, great design work. And I never thought of myself as a designer. I think of myself as a product guy. I think of myself, as a technologist. I occasionally do sales with some of our customers, things like that. But I never thought about being a great designer. And one of the amazing things for me is I too can produce stuff that looks really good. And that's been really transformative for me. So that's one thing I can't live without. The other is not so much an app, but I'm an Ironman. So I just did an event called Ironman France in June. And if you think about people who are into sports and athletics, we are big data people. So we love collecting data about ourselves, about calorie intake and our exercise habits and how many calories we're burning and how many feet we climbed on the bike course and all kinds of other data. And the great thing for me is I can collect all that data using a couple $100 GPS watch from Garmin, and I'm collecting immense amounts of data about my activities, and then I'm uploading them into the cloud, and I get to see everything about my activities. So those, that's really an amazing thing to me, that I can collect such granular data and then view it and get insights from it. So those are really the two things I can't live without.
This is, by the way, is very cool. This trend called quantitative self. So the possibility that you have to measure yourself with all the tools, Fitbit and so on.
Exactly.
The next web conference for people in Europe in December will be only about the Internet of Things and all about this kind of stuff. So it's absolutely interesting. Can you imagine, David, that in the notes for the interview today about you, I was writing down avid triathlete and violinist. This was one thing. An inventor or co-inventor on 15 US patents that I thought, gosh, 15 US patents, a lot, So.
Well, it's important to stress co-inventor because, whenever you're inventing something, it's a lot of really a team coming together to turn that invention into reality. It's one thing to think about, hey, let's build a transcription service that's going to be really easy. It's another thing to make that a reality for a lot of customers. And so you've got to have a lot of people coming together as a team to make that vision into reality.
Dave, last question and then I'll let you go. What will happen in the next couple of years in the transcription industry? I mean, videos are exploding, so I imagine that the more videos there are, the more transcription there will be. But there is any particular trend in this industry that you can?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think video really is going to be a huge source of growth. First of all, because it's a lot easier to capture video. We've all got a device like this device where it's really easy to capture video. And so that's creating just huge growth in the amount of video, and also people are putting it online. I mean, that's one of the big differences. I think we take that for granted, that of course I can upload my video and put it on the internet. But if you think about it, that's a relatively recent change, which is not just that I could capture it, but that I had enough bandwidth so that I could upload that and put it somewhere where other people could get to it. And so that change is really, disruptive in what's going on. So that combined with a bunch of regulatory stuff around requirements for closed captioning to make video accessible, and just the sheer volume of audio and video being put on the net, I think that's where a lot of the growth is going to come from. And, as a company, our goal is on continuing to scale and provide work for more and more people. There's a lot of unemployment in the country right now. And so, we view one of the things we're doing as creating a place where people can do productive work, get paid for it, have a career path potentially. And so that's what we're going to be all about for the next few years, is continuing to scale the business while maintaining high quality.
Thank you so much, Dave. David Feinleib, CEO and co-founder of Speechpad, and good luck for everything. Keep in touch.
Marco, thanks so much.